Hi, welcome to the week 10 how to get your horse to lower their head and specifically lowering the head for bridling. So there's so many different ways that you can use to lower your horse's head. You can use teach your horse to get used to voice cues, steady pressure from underneath a halter, on their pole. You can give them a trigger point on the withers. Good boy. Or even I've taught Bear to put his head down when his tummy is tapped by a light stick. There's preparation for eventually laying down. And so there's definitely more than one way to do this, but whatever method you choose, the idea is to be very, very attentive to any effort your horse is making so that you can release the request and acknowledge the effort so that they quickly work out what it is you're doing. So for most horses, innately, they learn to resist pressure and not have their head lowered. But actually being able to lower our horse's head is more than just convenient. It also is a useful tool for helping to calm them and bring their heart rate down. And studies have shown that there is a direct correlation. So when a horse calms down, they generally lower their head, but actually being able to lower their head first can also help them to be quicker to come to that calm state. So when there are times when Bear gets worried and he starts staring off into distance, I'll often just check in with, can I ask him to lower his head? And you can see he's just responding to that cue. What I'd like is that, good boy, lower your head, and he keeps it lower. And down, good, good boy, good boy, good boy. So we want, and it's just through repetition, that when our horse's head's lower, we come away and we keep that energy, that focus down. Good boy, and reward them for staying down with the head. Good boy, good boy. Very good, very good, very good. So you can build this to be very, very light, and the lighter you are, the better. The more in tune your horse is. If you're having to pull really hard, you're more likely to trigger a reflex in your horse to push back up against that pressure. If you have to put a little pressure on, just think about doing that in phases. So can I, investigating, good boy. Can I just put, touching the hairs, then think about touching his skin, good boy, there he's already going down. Push a little firmer, so as if I'm pushing into the muscle more, and then think about sending that message through to the bones necessary. So hair, skin, muscle, good boy. Hair, skin, muscle, bone, good boy. And it's not that you are actually digging into those places, it's just you're sending that intention and that feel, that focus. So you have real softness, you're practically not touching when you're at the hair point. Good boy, and down, and good. So as I thought about going towards his skin, and with that downward intention, he was able to follow that. Good boy. Another way is to actually draw them down. I have been building curiosity. So usually horses that are rewarded with positive reinforcement and have an association with you and treats are likely to follow a target. Good boy, good boy. And so they can then find it, and then they find that reward, whether it's just verbal or you actually do give them a treat. Good boy, when they actually bring their head down. When it comes to bridling the horse with their head lowered, a lot of people run into mistakes and problems because they just try to get the horse's head down, and then try and get the bridle on, and discover that the horse is throwing its head up, isn't making it easy, isn't participating, and that they lose that lovely quality they had in their good boy head down. So to prepare your horse first, you want to make sure that when your horse's head's down, they're going to be able to cope with the bridle coming up over their face and going round over the other side of them and running down, touching both ears, and that they can then seek out the bit. And as you can see, Bear's very keenly trying to seek the bit. Good boy. Very good. Good boy. Very good. So how I've prepared him for that is by having a rope and then just playing approach and retreat with him on both sides, over around the front of his face, good boy, and then allowing the bridle to come across to him from the other side, very good, and then asking him when the bridle is in that position, so if he can still head down, good boy, very good, head down, good boy, very good. The next instalment is that your horse can pick up the bit, and so for this it's a bit of a touching pattern where every time your horse, you hold it out and allow them to investigate, and at first when they touch the bridle, good boy, lots of rewards. Touch it as they start getting good, touching more around the bit, reward, good boy, well done. Then when he knows that he's going for the bit, good boy, really reward, and you'll just drop the bit out of his mouth and give him a treat, good boy. Sorry, I didn't have one there, you handsome man. And they'll soon start trying to find that bit on their own, good boy. So just following the feel of the bridle. And it is easier with this setup because I just have a headstall with a bit. You can, and I have done it with a noseband, but I don't tend to use nosebands particularly, and I just didn't want to have to dig through all of my old tack just to demonstrate. So obviously if you just want to make sure that the noseband's positioned out of the way so it's easy for them to find the bit, and you may break it down and just use a headstall while your horse is first learning how to find the bit, and then pick it up with the bit. And eventually then, once your horse is really good at, good boy, find the bit, well done, and you can actually pop that headstall, keep the head down, good boy. I can just talk, good boy, keep the head lowered, good boy, head down. And what I want is that he keeps that head lowered, good boy, throughout that process, because when I want to do it when I'm sitting or when I'm lower down, and I'm imagining here that, you know, for any reason, even if, hopefully if it ever happened it would be temporary, that I needed to be able to do stuff with him from a wheelchair. To be honest, when I was in my later stages of pregnancy, there were times when I was trying to do as much as possible whilst also still being able to sit. And there might be any reason you've hurt your leg, you just want to be able to sit with your horse, boy, and head down, good boy, head down, boy, and have them, good boy, and find the bit, very good, very good boy, head down, very good, well done, and do up your bridle so that you can use your leg as little as possible. It's also a great way of dealing with horses that are very tall. I love the saying that a horse is only as tall as the length from his nose to the tip of his ears when his head's on the ground. Good boy. So whenever anyone says I need a block to be able to bridle their horse, this is exactly the approach I would take to help them with that. Good luck, everyone. You can apply this with whatever headgear you want, and if you have some other creative ideas for things you can do with your horse, by having them lower their head. I'd love to see it. So get filming, and hopefully you get a lot of fun out of week 10.